Well, hello everybody, and in today's show we are going to feature somebody who played a World Championship match for free. Right, he didn't charge a penny for it. Magnus Carlsen, take note. And it was against Zuckertorp, wasn't it, Andrew? Which
1886, I think, he offered to play the
1880?
world title match completely for free.
Yeah,
Unsurprisingly, he died in poverty in 1900.
yeah. I don't think they realised at that time that you can actually charge for this stuff, and so so there we go. Do not play your World Championship matches for free. Or you should certainly have like a side business if you're going to do it. And well, I always thought that taxi driver was a good side business for a chess player. There've been a couple of those. We got your mate Mariotti, haven't we?
Yeah, that's it.
And Rosalimo as well,
Yeah.
because you can sort of set your own hours as and take some time off, providing you don't work for some company.
I'm
You know,
not
be an
too sure
Uber.
during Steinitz's life span that there were many taxis around, to be absolutely honest.
No, I don't think so. So
They might have been pulled by horses. Anyway,
yeah,
we're gonna take a look at some of Steinitz's games today. He was one of the great innovators of chess. Curiously, the imposing tone warriors of the mind only put him 47th on the all-time great list, which seems very strange to me, as he was one of the greatest chess thinkers of all time.
wasn't he world champion for was it 27 or 28 years? It depends how you count it, I think.
Well, I don't think he lost a match. The World Championship, first World Championship match was in 1886, wasn't it? Is that correct? When was the actual first World Championship match?
Well, he lost in was it 1896 to Alaska?
Yeah, that was considerably later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I know
So
he was undefeated in match play for 32 years, which makes a mockery
right.
of that later term.
So we take 32 years off 1896.
I think one of the reasons we chose Steinitz to feature today is that he was a real one-off, wasn't he? He was a
Yeah.
man of very independent thought.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a look at a few of his games. Quite a varied selection, actually. And the first one is a game he played against Winower. And it was played, when was it played? 1867. And it features one of Nigel's favourite openings, the French defence.
Getting battered. It's one of my favourite recommendations for club players because it's full of clear strategic ideas, and you can get away with relatively less theory than in many other openings. And the position stays closed, so it's quite hard to prepare like a computer KO from.
One of the
So
things about this game, which I like, we actually see Winower playing his own variation, the actual innovator of the Bishop B4.
yeah,
Although he
and
probably won't look on this game as one of his best.
he didn't do incredibly well with it. So d4, d5, knight c3, bishop b4, which Bobby Fischer said is anti-positional and weakens the king side. So I think by that he means the g7 square. Also, giving up two bishops. Fischer liked his bishops. But I think, paradoxically, Fischer didn't have a great record in this line with white. It was like one of his worst openings with white.
You were talking about this game last time, weren't you, when we discussed Vlatko Kovacevic?
Yeah, where Fischer played 4a3.
Yes.
And there was, I think there've been some other games as well where Fischer was looking very shaky. He won a very famous game against Bent Larsen in a winner.
First game in their match in Denver, I think.
Yeah,
Marvellous game.
yeah. And so that, maybe Fischer was gradually figuring it out. He also did badly against the Caro-Kann at first.
Do we see a great deal of the Winower these days? We don't see the French too often in top-class tournaments, do we?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons, okay, this is speculation on my part, is that the modern style is very much around heavy computer preparation, right, over the first 20 moves, and that is sort of how people go about playing chess. Now with the French, because you get closed positions very often, the game slows down quite a lot. So that makes it more difficult to prepare in detail a lot of computer lines, because you're going to get, the game gradually opening up, around about move 20 to 30, and a lot of possibilities on the way. So I think it's good from many perspectives.
I suppose Nepomniachtchi is still playing, isn't he, occasionally?
Sorry, who?
Nepomniachtchi?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he plays some weird lines. He goes 3 knight d2 and he's played a5.
Okay.
So he's gone there and a5.
The computer must say it's okay.
Well, I don't know, but there's like 3 games of his appearing in the database here: Dominguez, Vacher Le Grave, and Ganguly, and he got 2.5 out of 3 with that. Oh, he's got 3.5 out of 4. He beat Sugarov as well. I don't know if these were blitz games, but
Almost certainly.
Good score with it.
It looks like a blitz opening.
Anyway, we got knight c3, bishop b4, and now e takes d5. It's a real passion killer from Black's point of view. I think Kistyakov, he played queen takes d5, but he got it via a different move order. He would play d takes e4. If we go back here, he would do this: knight takes, queen d5, knight c3, bishop b4. And
Didn't think this line was supposed to be much good.
well, it probably isn't. But we're not gonna stop it appearing on the show just because of that. So e takes d5, e takes d5, bishop d3.
And Larson like queen f3 there, didn't he?
Well, he played it in one game against Portish,
Yeah.
and it was like a one-off thing, which is a pretty good idea. On Twitter recently, Nigel Short talked about having a special database with dodgy ideas that he called a crap base. And he got the idea from Morozovich, who now seems to have switched to playing Go all the time. And, it's probably quite a good idea, because your opponents might spend some time preparing for one of your crap base lines.
Well, I'm sure you could lay foundations down to make your fortune.
We need to register crapbase.com. Have it as a subscription-based service.
I mean, going back to this, I think there's a book come out recently about exchange variations in the French defence, but I'm not sure this is one of the featured lines. I didn't think this was very much for Black to worry about.
Yeah, it has received some attention, because you can argue that the bishop
go knight e7. I mean, what's the problem here?
Well, they've done knight c6, knight f6, knight e7. They've done all sorts of moves. The most popular move is knight c6. They've done all kinds of things, but
I take it that Winnower's next move is not.
No, bishop e6 is not thought to be very good. And now
just an inflexible square for the bishop, because you really want to be playing knight e7 and bishop f5, don't you?
Yeah, because you're probably going to want to play h6 in a minute, because you're worried about some knight g5 coming in.
Well, he did.
He did indeed. And so this again is like a loss of time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing about this exchange variation line is you're kind of encouraging a weaker opponent to misplace their pieces, and Winnower has already slightly misplaced his pieces, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas White, what is White doing? White's just getting the bits out, really.
Well, when he's castled, he might be threatening to transfer this knight to e2 and then over to the king side, which is one of the things they used to do in the old days of the exchange variation. In fact, there's a game between Blackburn, I think Schwartz, where Blackburn does this knight transfer. That might be another good one for a show, Andrew. The life and games of Joseph Henry Blackburn.
Yeah, he was an interesting character.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so White is probably threatening knight e2 in this position.
Yeah, I think so.
And transfer the knight across, and you could be facing a serious attack there with Black, couldn't you?
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
I
it's not,
mean, the next move by Black, I mean, okay, he stops the knight transfer, but he gives up the dark square bishop. That's a big concession when White can play bishop a3.
oh yeah. Well, I think he was just struggling. He, I mean, as a pioneer, the pioneer of the Winnower variation, then he's got to decide at the board where he's going to put his pieces, and he just got it wrong.
Yeah, well, these were early days.
Yeah. I mean, he took on c3, and then he played knight d7.
Just don't like this for Black, really.
Yeah, now he put his knight on b6, where obviously it's not going to be very well placed. But the bigger problem now is that White can put his knight on the outpost on the half open file with knight e5, and then after knight e7 he plays f4.
Yeah.
And this is extremely bad news for Black. It becomes much worse in a minute. So you get this, knight takes, bishop a3. Now Black wants to castle, so he played knight d6. But when White plays f5, then Black's position becomes very unpleasant. And it was, I don't know if you've seen a game between Cherniak and Hartston from Hastings, where Cherniak got f5 in this variation. And he said when White gets f5 in lines like this, then basically he's winning. Has a big advantage.
There are lots of similar positions from various openings. Black does not look in good shape here already, even if he plays the suggestion in the text of Queen g5.
Yeah. Maybe White then goes Queen. Could do Queen f3.
I mean, is Black going to castle long? This is the thing. Well, he can't actually castle long, so because of bishop takes d6.
And knight takes f7.
Queen e2 then, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Queen e2. Can Black
that castle short then?
All looks very shaky.
It looks awful, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Queen somewhere. Where are we going to put it? Either move looks good. Let's try that. What does he do?
Castle short.
Yeah, he got a castle short, and then maybe just f6.
Yeah.
Looks horrible.
Very, very ugly indeed.
Thanks for the compliment.
So yeah, so this is this is strategically very unpleasant. I mean, the game is noteworthy for a very different reason that we're going to come to shortly.
But of course, Steinitz in his early days was a very dangerous attacking player, wasn't it? It's only later that he changed his style to positional style, which of course he's quite famous for. His early games are filled with combinations and dynamic play, really, which put him far ahead of his time.
Yeah, I do wonder why he changed sometimes, because it's in many ways it's much more fun to be playing like this rather than like crawling around the back rank.
Well, I think he probably thought that he discovered something significant and he wanted to share it with people.
Yeah,
because he was a writer, wasn't he, as well? And he did actually in his column share a lot of ideas.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the main the main transference he did. I don't know if do you know any books Steinitz wrote, or was it just I've seen collections of his games with notes from I don't know if it was The Field. I think it was some other paper.
Yeah, he did actually publish a book called The Modern Chess Instructor.
Ah, right, okay.
And he was let's have a look. He was the correspondent of The Field from 1873 to 1882, and then he founded the International Chess Magazine in New York, which he edited to 1891. So yeah, I would say he made a considerable contribution to the literature of chess.
Yeah, they had in those days as well. They had like these battles in the press. You know, I mean, I remember one famous one about some variation. I'll just show you this. Actually, it's probably worth mentioning. There was some dispute, I think, between Tarrasch and Chigorin about who was losing time in this variation, and it went like this: knight f6, the 4 knight Sicilian, So knight here, bishop b4, a3, bishop takes c3, knight takes c3. I think Tarash argued that black had lost, or white had lost, a considerable amount of time, and Chigorin said that he hadn't. Right, and they had this real, set two in the press. I think that's the case. And then was it Leopold Hofer that took over in the field?
I don't know actually. Could be.
Might have been Hofer, and he was always arguing with people, and he wasn't even a particularly strong player, Hofer.
Chess players are not renowned for their equable nature.
They were arguing about this tempo for ages.
Aggro is a very important quality of the chessboard. Always has been.
Be able to argue about these fine points. Sort of. Do you play bridge, Andrew?
Well, I have done it to a reasonable extent in the past.
Yeah. Gormallys are quite common in that as well. I understand.
They can be, but I don't have any Barneys myself. I've never had any arguments really.
Right. We didn't manage to draw Paul Littlewood on his own Barneys because his wife is his bridge partner. Anyway, back to the game, and we've got a sensational move coming up. Queen g4.
Well, I mean, this is just a carnage, isn't it? Already.
Yeah.
Horrible.
I don't think Black's got any moves really, because his position is. If he takes on f6, White just plays his queen to the f file, and then the knight is attacked and it can't move.
Let's have a look. So here,
f7, mate.
We just go
queen f4 probably.
Here, and this is disaster already.
Yeah,
total disaster.
b6 to d7, and then you just lop it off and win a piece.
Yeah, you just take it. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Well, it's more, isn't it? Because you after you take the knight, there's the king can't move, and you're threatening rook b e1 check.
Well, Winnower decided to go down in flames, didn't he?
Yeah.
D8.
Do you think he'd seen White's next move when he played this? And he's just like hoping for the best.
Well, he was a strong master, wasn't he? So I think we can assume that he saw it, but couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the next move, Gordon, I'll let you play it.
Right, here we go. Sensational move. Hang on to your hats, everybody. Queen takes g6. And the idea is that if Black takes it, then White goes f7 check. Here, f8 equals, we'll make a rook. Rook takes f8. Checkmate.
Full school of chess here.
So that's the idea, and I mean it seems very possible that Winnower had seen that, but his position was so bad that he would just hope Steinitz had missed it.
Well, his next move will suggest he had seen it, and this was the only way he could think of.
Yeah, to continue
out of the middle,
continue the game.
Yeah, but even this is total disaster.
Yeah, so now Queen g7, forcing Black to castle queenside and jettison this pawn on f7.
A very bad day at the office for the Winnower.
Yeah, very bad day at the office. Now I think if you play, let's say you play a rook to g8 here.
Yes.
Which one are we going to do? This one?
I'll leave you to choose.
They both seem possible. I'm just wondering now if we do.
Why can't you just take the rook in the corner?
I think we're going to do that, aren't we?
Well, it's hardly a sacrifice.
Do you take it with? Maybe you take it with the queen.
How does he stop rook f8 check?
Or maybe you take it with the queen. That's
that way around.
Yeah.
And then he gets the f.
Now you're threatening f7. I know, but there's also. Hang on a second. There's this move here as well.
Grovel.
And then I suppose there.
Can I resign? This is most unpleasant.
You can.
I think I slightly prefer the other way.
Okay.
Surely
so knight takes Rook
Yeah.
takes there, F
Yeah.
takes G7.
What's your next move?
Threatening, Rook F8 check, and Knight F6, you take F6.
Yeah.
So what about the other rook? If you put that rook over, then is
Well,
it...
I just take this way, don't I?
Okay, fair enough. And you're all primed for Rook F8.
Which I don't think he can stop, can he?
No, I don't think so. So Winawer tried to complicate with knight takes c3, and then this rook drops off, rook takes, and we have a coronation coming with f7, knight d7, rook b to e1. And black in desperation goes here check. White calmly removes his king. Pawn to c5. This is an attempt to stop white just playing f8 equals queen. But of course white can take that. Now queen e4. Again, it's pretty desperate looking stuff. White just,
say that again. Oh my gosh, he's relying on knight g3 check, isn't he?
Yeah, but you can't. There's no
Can't
check
do
on
that.
h4.
Desperate.
Right, so
Has he counted the pieces recently?
well, I think he did that now. Right, now he's hoping for rook takes e4, but of course Steinitz does not do much. Just for the viewers here, if you play rook takes e4 after this, sorry, it's there, isn't it? Then something really bad happens with rook f1 mate. But after bishop takes f8, all hope is abandoned, and white now is a rook apiece and a few pawns up.
I mean, obviously, the end of that game was not that great. But I think what that does show, if we go back just to the opening, is that actually Steinitz played this quite cunningly. He transferred the game from a possible closed position into as open a position as you can get against the French, and then he just outplayed him in an open position, didn't he? Put his pieces on, put his pieces on better squares.
Quite a few strong players have played the exchange variation actually.
Yeah,
I think,
well,
Nigel Short has played the 4e takes d5.
When you see games like this, you realise why.
Yeah. There's a very good game of Rudolf Spielmann that we should take a look at some time as well. There's a win in about 16 moves. It's against 3 knight f6, and then he takes on d5. It's against somebody whose name begins with W, like
Walbrot.
Walbrot. Spielmann against Walrus.
I've never heard a chess player called Walrus, but I mean, have a look in the database after this show.
Begins with a W, right? I know that much. I think it's a W, and it's a fabulous game by Rudolf Spielmann.
So this line can be dangerous against an unprepared player or somebody who doesn't know how to play the open game. They're looking forward to a closed game, but I still say knight e7 is absolutely okay.
Yeah, then you can go queen f3.
Yeah, but then bishop e6 makes a lot more sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to put your knight on e2.
Yeah,
and here I see they go
h3.
They go a3 a lot actually.
Well, you take the knight, don't you? You're quite happy to take it.
Yeah.
And
We
like that,
look down the list of players who are playing this, then it's quite a little galaxy of stars. Well, starlets.
Well, it's very difficult to lose with it,
Iranian.
isn't it? It's very difficult to lose with this system.
Yeah, but I think it's a pretty good line at club level, and beyond. I was looking at it with black one time, and it's not, it's no bed of roses. You've got to be pretty accurate with what you do.
And what is interesting is Winawer was considered a master player of the day. I mean, how would we rate him in today's chess world? Because he looked pretty weak there, didn't he?
Yeah, 170.
Joking aside, I mean, I think that might be a good assessment.
Yeah, so 1850 or something.
But I think the average 170 would not be too pleased about playing a game like that these days.
No. They'd be, they'd say, "Oh, I played like a 140 today." They say Steinitz is a good player,
amongst other expletives. Yeah. Okay. So that actually for me displayed Steinitz's attacking flair,
Yeah.
and of
Well, we
course,
got this next game is like his most famous one, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It is. Let's go back to the
Yeah.
start.
So it's
Beginning at the beginning would be helpful.
yeah.
Yeah, this game, of course, comes from the Great Hastings Tournament of 1895. It is one of his most famous games. It's a game I've used extensively in training sessions, and everybody who hasn't seen it enjoys it.
Yeah.
And they very rarely see the combination at the end.
This was also during his mature period after he'd formulated a lot of his positional rules. You know, so he had I mean his Steinitz variation of the Ryder Pez. He believed very strongly in keeping a pawn in the centre.
Yes, and what is interesting about this game is that he became famed for playing closed positions, but in this game he was challenged to as open a position as you can get very early on.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss this position, I know, where he played knight c3. Now that already is offering the Moller gambit, is it?
Yeah, knight takes e4, and then
Castles.
pawn, and then castles, bishop takes c3, pawn to d5.
Yeah.
All very.
Now you wanted to say something about this, didn't you? Because
Yeah.
isn't there a modern twist on this line?
Well, Frank Marshall used to play king f1, but just recently people have been experimenting with knight bd2, allowing knight takes e4, and then they want to play pawn to d5. Now it's not done incredibly well in practice, but we've got a game there, and Nakamura against Giri, and Pankratov against Alexandrov, Hector against Hrashek. So it's appealing to some pretty aggressive players, this variation.
It looks like a Johnny Hector special.
Yeah. Well, he's
to
played
be
some pretty enterprising stuff.
It's supposed to be an improved Moller gambit or something.
Well, the Muller Gambit has actually been
I mean, let's say black goes there.
down theoretically.
What happens next?
I imagine you would castle.
Just castles, and then we have to. What if I just chop everything off? Let's be boring.
Yeah, bishop takes d2.
Yeah, just take it off.
Yeah, queen takes.
And d6.
Oh, they play pawn to d6.
Well, here
They don't recapture.
the little scallywags.
And they maybe wanted to sacrifice an f7 already now.
Retreat.
Well, can white play queen b3 after that?
Yeah.
Or bishop takes f7 check, king takes.
Well, I just take
b3 check.
Hey, nonny, no. Do you?
Well, hang on. Bishop b4. I want to take on f7 check.
Wait a minute.
No, d6.
Get the position right.
Yeah, d6.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Have you gone out of your mind?
Well, I get the piece back.
Well, I'm going to take it,
Oh, hang on. I'm still a piece down.
but it might not matter.
Yeah.
Can I survive the next few moves? Maybe not.
So queen b3 check.
If it
I
works,
lost count.
You saw it here first. If it doesn't work, forget it.
It probably. I don't know if this works. It's.
It looks blinking dangerous.
Oh, well, they all look dangerous. I mean,
Okay, can I try to solve the problems of this silly line by playing normal moves? Like this.
That is a sensible choice. We'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
And we will castle.
And then I do the same.
Yeah, and then white will play.
I mean, is this?
A3 has been played more than anything else.
And then what do I do? Drop away somewhere.
Yeah.
Where will I go?
It's an IQP position with white's knight on d2 instead of some normal square, isn't it?
Now I've got a difficult choice, haven't I?
Well, you don't want to go to d6 particularly.
Should I go here?
You can go to d6 actually. No, you can't.
Should I go here?
Right, and now white.
Well, Well, you can go b4 and then
Bishop,
queen
well,
b3.
bishop a2 is quite attractive to play knight c4.
Yeah, maybe. Which tends to suggest I could probably be better off going here.
Yeah, now.
Okay, it's just a game, isn't it?
Yeah, rook e1. So
Yeah.
IQB.
Yeah.
Well, it's yeah. I mean, I think people have played that because it offers like a fresh and interesting way to play a very well trammeled position. Bishop d2, I think, has had its terrors drawn. Black can either equalise with d5, or he can. Sorry, bishop takes d2 check and d5, or he can speculate with knight takes e4.
That's not a bad move.
Yeah.
Although you have to have your king wandering around for a little while.
So it's not everybody's cup of tea.
Well, okay, we're talking.
Safe king.
This game was played 1895, so we'll let them off.
Yeah. So knight c3 was high fashion in 1895.
Well, it was high fashion in 1619, apparently, when it was advocated by Calabrese. If you look at the notes. Anyway, so Black has got to decide, should he take the pawn or not? Now, von Bartleman obviously decided to play what he thought was a straightforward move.
Yeah, who can blame him?
Yeah, the only difficulty is, I guess, is that once again we've reached an open position where Black can't castle yet. He's got to actually do something before he castles.
Yeah.
And the only real move, I mean, if let's say he takes this off, he takes the knight off and takes the pawn off. I mean, first of all, in this position, have we got rook e1 check? No. Doesn't really do anything. Knight e4 check. No, rook e1 check, and then just put the bishop in the way or something. But the main idea, isn't it? If he takes this, we take this, is to go bishop a3. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe so. And now White is menacing all sorts of queen b3, rook e1 check things.
Okay, show me how you finish it off. Check first.
Yeah, we'll play rook e1 check.
And already Black is feeling the price of his greed. I mean, you've got d5. I don't know. d5, the queen takes a1 might be quite good.
Yeah, d5 certainly looks. Certainly looks pretty.
Yeah, because that would be mate if I take on f7. So if I go here and then he plays bishop f6, let's say, we can actually take this on the grounds that if he takes that, this is a beautiful mate. Oh no, it's not mate.
It will be mate.
Beautiful for a moment in my mind's eye.
Rook takes check, king here.
I'm a piece up.
You're going to be a piece up, aren't you?
Yeah.
So that is
wasn't mate. I feel cheated.
Well, it will be.
Anyway, that gives an example of the danger. So, I mean, maybe although d5 looks like a very natural move here and very logical, it might be a mistake. Anyway, von Bartleman decided to play bishop e6, which once again looks like a perfectly straightforward move. And now it's very important in positions like this not to lose any time. Time is pressing because Black is threatening to castle. And so White has got to keep the flow of the attack going before Black castles, which he does by playing bishop g5. Now, do you think that Black missed White's next move?
After bishop e7, to play bishop takes d5.
Yeah. Missed the whole concept, as you know. He just thought, okay, this is just. He might have
been just playing sensible, or what he thought were sensible moves, and you know, at the time, then theory wasn't very well mapped out. I mean, I think they had Bilguia's handbook around this time. They didn't have an awful lot else, you know, especially with regard to opening variations. You know, it's there really wasn't much available, and I mean, even in like the 1970s. When you think that my initial opening repertoire started with a, sort of subsection in the Guardian chess book, which was a small paperback anyway. I got my white and black openings out of that. Go back another 75 years and it was even less well charted. Lasker's Manual of Chess, he had a section on the openings, and it wasn't, particularly well endowed. It was, you had like the Rio de Janeiro variation in there, which I picked up on, and a few other lines, but there wasn't an awful lot. It was, I mean, the openings started to become coded when Chemist Betty of Batsford decided he had this genius idea of selling opening books, right? Because openings always changed. Right? A lot of stuff in chess doesn't change very much. I mean, endgame theory is more or less the same, right? But openings change and become fashionable, so you can sell not one book but a whole series of books.
Yeah,
and this has gone on from there. That now we've got books and electronic files and courses and whatever on almost every opening you can imagine. I saw the other day there was a something brought out on the Scandinavian rat. Do you know what that is?
The Norwegian rat.
Norwegian rat.
G6 and knight f6. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the North Sea defence, you mean?
Right.
Been
not
renamed.
the Norwegian rat.
And let's not forget, it's called Magnus Carlsen's Norwegian rat. This is very important. This is the actual title on the book cover. Despite the fact it was invented by Rolf Martens back in the 1960s.
All right. I'm surprised we've had nothing on the De Brucker defence.
Well, I'm pretty sure somebody's going to find something against the Norwegian rat and have to slink back into its hole or go back into the sewer. Very
but
quickly.
De Brucker was playing this all the time. He's a pretty good player as well. He's like a 2300 player.
Well, Miles played this, didn't he, once?
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. I think the guy went bishop takes a6.
Well, and then Queen A5 check for black.
That's it. You want to show that?
The big idea. So bishop takes A6, Queen A5 check. I think Markovic has played this as well. He's a Serbian player who likes to avoid theory.
Why would you ever take that lousy knight? Let it go to C7 and sit there.
Yeah.
As even in the London system, they've managed to find a line where the knight goes to C7. Everybody will laugh, but we've got a London system coming up in this program. If you can believe it.
An early London system.
Yeah.
It's
Well, one does it if it ever survived that game.
Yeah.
We're about to see. But anyway, this Norwegian rat, I'm not going to call it that. I'm going to call it. Well, actually, Martins did call it that. But the North Sea defence is.
It's the North Sea defence.
This was the North Sea defence, yeah. But it's also been called the Horseshoe. Martins, that was its original name, I think, because I suppose the knight goes in the shape of a horseshoe after this.
So could we also have one like this, like a queenside horseshoe?
That really is garbage.
So the North Sea defence. Call it. How about the South Sea defence? I got my left and my right mixed up, Your Honour. Suppose we better go back to the.
Curiously enough, hang on a minute. Curiously enough, in this position, this move's not bad.
Yeah, knight C6 now is a really good move.
Actually, not bad.
Yeah, I think bishop D3 is a mistake because of this.
Yeah,
I think white should go knight D2 in that position. That's worth the price of admission to this show alone. Knight D2.
Okay, well, let's not elaborate on trade secrets. Can we go back to Steinitz?
Yeah, okay. Right. Okay.
I'll be turning his grave if he saw that stuff.
To edit that bit out of the YouTube version.
No. So I was speculating that probably Black missed this entire concept. I mean, otherwise, why would you ever go in for it?
He might have been playing just like a sensible move, and
Just assumed he could defend this position.
yeah, move by move. I mean, it's awful because now you can't castle.
And White's threatening a move like rook e5.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible. I mean, how strong was Van Bardeleben?
Well,
Maybe
he must have been considerably stronger than Winower. And if he was playing in Hastings 95, he was pretty strong.
what, like 150?
No, come on. It's hard to judge by modern standards. I mean,
Yeah,
you
but
could say that the guy's only 2200 strength.
well, maybe. I mean, but I think the lack of knowledge about opening theory, because now we've got a situation where people are like memorizing series of moves, up to move 20 if their opponent cooperates, which is a moot point, and so they can play like God in the first few moves if they so wish. Now, Bardler probably didn't even have a copy of Bill Greer's handbook. Well, maybe he did, but he left it at home or something.
Well, actually, the big mistake is coming up, isn't it? Because Black can defend this position to an extent.
Okay.
It all depends on how you view.
Okay.
It all depends on how you view the position coming up. Right now, Black has to play. He makes a mistake. This is the serious mistake.
Okay.
What he should do is go here, and then it's up to White to find a decisive continuation. I mean, some sources give this exchange sacrifice,
Not so
but
sure about
I
that.
don't think I don't think White is winning this position.
Well, you go King E6 probably, don't you?
Well,
And then activate your rooks.
it's got to be King D6 or King E6, I guess.
Yeah.
King D6 looks a bit better to me, but
Oh right. Yeah. No, King D6 looks.
I mean, I just want to get a rook on the 7th. So
Activate. Yeah.
what are you
Activate.
going to take?
Well, rook takes B7. You go rook A B8. Exchange your rook.
Or yeah, rook A B. That's right. Well, then I guess he takes on one of the pawns, but I don't think White's winning that. Do you?
No, I don't think so. In fact, it can even be quite dangerous playing against with a knight against a rook in an endgame.
I mean, I prefer Black.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I mean, I think just Black.
Well, it's been
King is so
difficult to
strong.
play White. Yeah,
Huh?
because you get double rooks on the 7th. It's easy to see that happening.
I mean, let me just hoover some pawns off. So I'll take that. He takes this.
Yeah,
Then
take
D3 maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So rook
Rook up.
C8.
C8. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Now, how? Sorry, excuse me. How can White possibly win this? You're not going to win this, are you?
Well, you might be in trouble
Well, I
because
think you are. I think you are in trouble.
yeah, because you need desperately to defend your F2 pawn. And
So
I'm
what
not-
it means is that actually here, White's got to find a good move. I mean, you could play. I mean, Queen C4 check looks sensible to me, but then he goes Knight D5, and I don't know.
How about Knight H4 to check on H5?
There should be something here, but it's certainly not Queen takes Knight check.
Yeah,
Well, can I just go G6? I mean, I don't know how bad that is.
yeah, and then I'll probably bring the knight back and hoik the H pawn up or something.
Yeah, but it's a game.
Yeah,
White's certainly a little bit better, but I think it's definitely a game.
yeah. I almost had a line there, but I don't think it was going to work. That a somewhat fanciful line. Knight H4, Queen takes D4. Well, that just loses. The rook takes C7. Actually,
No, Queen takes Knight. You can't do that.
yeah, rook Queen takes Knight. Sorry, I'll edit that bit out. Right, it's the morning. So, okay, well, back to the game. And he makes this error, C6, which allows White to play an incredibly powerful pawn sack with pawn to D5. The main point being that it's going to clear the square D4 because Black cannot take with the Queen. And he cannot take with the Knight.
Beautiful move.
Yeah.
Easy to miss. Easy to miss
Yeah.
for any standard of player.
Yeah. So C takes D5, Knight D4. And suddenly white's got a wonderful position. Black cannot castle. He can go king f7, which is the only show in town. You can't play rook c8 because white just takes it and takes e7 check, mate. So he goes king f7. And now white hoiks in the knight, knight e6. And it's still not clear because it looks like rook hc8 might be defending. But we're about to get one of the most remarkable combinations in history, I would say. It always baffles me. I keep seeing it, and I still have to double check, triple check all these lines. I'll let you take them through this bit.
Oh, how generous. Well, there's a slight problem for black in that he's got an unprotected queen on d7, which could cause some issues. White's threatening queen g7, queen takes g7 check with mate next move on f8. That's why black can't take on c1. So black is down to a move to stop queen takes g7. I mean, he can't move his knight, for instance, because then knight g5 will win the queen. So he has to block. We get the check anyway. King must go back. And now this superb move, rook takes e7. Which brings us to a situation where every single white piece is attacked, which makes it unique. Every single white piece is attacked and unprotected. But black's hand is completely forced. He's got to move the king.
Yeah, can't take with the queen because the rook takes c8 check. Rook takes forced, queen takes c8 check, forcing the exchange of queens.
Let's have a look at this. So we just do this, and this obviously wins. White's a piece up. And if he takes with the king, we just go, let's have a look. There's some checkmate here. Where is it? It starts with rook e1 check, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then black has to come out here.
Yeah, if you go king d8, there's knight e6 check. King e7, knight c5, discovered check.
That's the end of the queen.
Yeah.
So king d6, and now there is definitely some way to finish him off. Is it queen b4? Or is it rook e6? I'm not sure.
Go queen b4, he goes king c7, you then go knight e6 check, king b8, queen f4 check, interposes the rook, you take the rook, queen takes rook e8 check.
Right, let's have a look. So queen here. If he goes here,
his rook c1
just go here, and that's checkmate. So he has to go back.
Yeah, you go knight e6 check.
In, then he goes back, then you come out.
Yeah.
He shakes it all about. You do the hokey cokey.
And rook e8 check, follow his mate.
Very nice. Yeah, it just goes to show Nigel's still awake.
It's very on and off my scene tactics, I mean, if somebody plays me, they might just get, they could get very lucky or very unlucky, depending on what my brain misses or sees.
Anyway, von Barnleben, his brain is in a whirl. He played king f8. And now this super move here, rook f7 check.
Yeah. So again, the idea, if you take it with the queen, you got rook takes c8 check.
And that just white ends up a piece up for nothing.
Yeah.
So he's got to keep moving here. Now this extraordinary move, rook g7 check.
Yeah. So you take it with the queen, rook takes c8 check. Take it with the king, queen takes d7 check.
So the king continues his march.
Yeah. And if he goes back to f8, there is.
Let's have a look.
Goes back to f8.
F8, yes. Well, I can take that, can't I?
You can indeed. Because now king takes g7, queen takes d7 check.
I mean, there might be a better win, but that'll do.
Yeah, that'll definitely do.
So he goes into the corner. Rook takes h7 check.
Yeah, still can't take with the queen because...
So he's got to go back. And now the difference is this time, of course, when he goes to h8, we can introduce our queen. And when he takes, we go check, king. And now we don't take the queen because that would be mate. We go check. We go check. We go check. We go check. Creeping in. We go check. Will all this torture never end? He blocks. Look at this. Checkmate.
He resigned after rook takes h7 check, which sort of shows what a strong player he was.
Did he not leave the tournament hall? I think he left the tournament hall, never to return.
Oh, right. Well, he must have seen what was coming.
Yeah, and didn't want to experience it.
Right, so he just took his coat and his hat and his walking stick.
I think that
wandered off.
I think that might be right. Headed for the pier. Yeah.
Well, I think he could have been a little bit more generous in defeat there, because that was, that game immortalised him. Who would have heard of Kurt von Bardleben if he hadn't lost that game?
I don't want to be cruel to him, really, but that was an extraordinary finish. And again, showing Steinitz's extraordinary capacity for attack, which we don't normally associate him with.
Yeah.
But another famous game. Now, this next game I really, really enjoy, because we're going to actually see the London system get
two arch rivals, by the way.
Completely spanked.
Well, we have discussed the rivalry. I think it was more sort of banter gone haywire, between Blackburn and Steinitz, because Steinitz had a very sharp tongue, and I think he referred to Blackburn as Drusilla or something, and was just sort of like sarcastic and everything when Blackburn was liquored up. Well, the result was that one day Blackburn punched him through a window. And Steinitz was just a little guy. Blackburn was huge,
Didn't Steinitz beat Blackburn 7-0 in a match somewhere?
Very, very possibly.
And that might have
triggered him.
Not exactly endeared Blackburn to him.
But they would have spent a lot of time together as well, because they, if they were travelling to tournaments, the odds are that if you're on a ship to New York or something, guess who else is going to be on this ship is the other chess players.
Well, actually, according to the notes I'm reading, actually Steinitz apparently had a reputation for being a bit aggressive and sarcastic, but in fact he generally got on well with people.
Yeah. Maybe
it was just Blackburn who.
Well, Blackburn just was, when he'd had too much to drink, then he was.
Anyway, here we are, 1899, one of their later games, and Blackburn obviously plays the London system. Perhaps he's hoping to flag Steinitz a bit later on, so with the move rate of 10 moves a day or something, whatever they played in those days. Were they actually using clocks at that point?
Well, they did introduce them at some point, but they started out. I think when they started out using clocks, then they thought it was a bit unfair to have people just lose the game, so they introduced fines. And then there was one game where I think Tarash lost to Marco, and Tarash was trying his hardest to defend, and he ended up paying a fine and losing the game in the end. Which I don't imagine he was very happy about.
Well, anyway, here we have the London system. In the present day, very, very popular, because it enables white to just churn out a series of pre-programmed moves without any thought, and then say you've lost on time. So I doubt that was.
C5 is a very modern move, actually.
Well, very modern, yeah, very modern.
They think this is the way to go against the London.
Well, they play C3 these days, don't they? This is it.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah.
Going for the exchange Slav transposition.
Yeah, things like Queen B6, Queen B3. With a highly exciting position.
Yeah.
But here, Blackburn plays e3, so he's allowing Steinitz to play Queen b6.
Well,
I
you
mean,
could
I
go
guess,
Queen C1.
well, you could also go here, can't you? Is there not some
Oh,
trick?
right. Yeah, they do that, don't they?
Yeah, you can't whip this pawn off. Well, you can, but it's kind of asking for it.
Yeah.
Isn't there some rook takes a6 at the end?
Well, even that position, I
Something like this.
think might not be that clear.
What's going on here?
Yeah. Pawn takes, knight C7 check, king up.
King
Takes
where, though? King where?
D8.
Getting slightly afraid of moves like knight g5, but maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know what's going on. I'm
Yeah,
sure
well,
there's some reason they don't do that. But then we're getting sidetracked yet again on this show. So this is a long game. So Steinitz just settled for a normal move, and White played normal chess. And now, interestingly, he didn't play Queen b3 here.
yeah.
He's
Which, as
preferring.
we know, is met by C4, Queen C2, Bishop F5.
Yeah, well, let's have a look. So here, c4, Queen c2, Bishop f5.
Yeah. And
Okay, so can I actually take this? You take that and go here.
I take the rook.
Take the rook and then go back with a queen. What's going on here?
I go E6.
Okay, you're getting the lady out of there.
I think with Bishop A3, E6, Bishop E2, Bishop A3.
Yeah, but even that won't be that clear, will it? So, I mean, obviously I've got a castle.
Yeah, Bishop A3, castles, Queen B2.
Yeah, your bishop is.
Queen A4. You still trapped my bishop. Oh, very interesting. This on.
I haven't trapped the bishop. I haven't trapped the bishop. Bishop can move.
Oh, the bishop can move. Of course it can. Sorry, I'm
just claiming some
having a very
compensation.
variable morning. Am I threatening B5 now? No, probably not. Trying to bring my queen back.
Maybe black can do this.
Well, I'm going to be material up.
You're a lot of material up.
Yeah, I'm the exchanging a pawn up. If you don't have something dramatic.
Well, the only thing I've got is this, but then you can just castle, can't you?
Yeah.
So maybe that's also worth considering. Anyway, he played Queen C1, which is a bit of a passive location for the Queen, isn't it?
Yeah. You're hoping to get it out later.
Now, I mean, essentially, this is already a very comfortable position for Black, isn't it?
I would have thought so.
Uh,
White should probably do knight BD2 or something. Just yeah, that gives up the centre, so it looks a bit on the dubious side.
the only thing you've got to be slightly careful if he doesn't go knight h4 and manage to get the two bishops. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's time to go h6.
Yeah, that would be a typical thing to do.
Because if you go e6, can he get away with this?
Yeah. But that would be a better version of a d takes c5 line, if after h6, because Black's played a not very useful move with h6 then.
I mean, I doubt. For me, I doubt White can get anything here.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Black's position? Rook c8.
Well, he can pretend that he's got the two bishops. Right.
Hardly a position where you're going to make great use of them.
Yeah, I know. It looks fine for Black. I mean, the London system, to be honest, I don't think it gives an awful lot. The main reason for playing it is, as you say, that you can churn a bunch of moves out.
But this is not a modern day London system at all, because Black's now absolutely fine. White's given up the centre.
Yeah.
There
are lines where they go DC though.
So bishop e4, Blackburn takes on c6, knight d2, bishop f5. I mean, I imagine this position is just solidly equal, isn't it?
I would prefer Black already.
Because of the queen on c1.
Yeah, and White's got a pawn majority in the centre. So if you don't counter that somehow, you're going to be worse.
Anyway, what happens in this game is quite humorous because White's pride and joy, the London system bishop, endures a fate worse than death.
The next move is quite amusing, I think. H5.
Well, and now the next one after that, G5.
Yeah.
Um,
So what Black is arguing here is because he's got control of the centre, then he can do this because White's not going to hit back in the centre. That's the classic answer to a flank attack is a counter blow in the centre. Well, Steinitz is saying, yeah, well, you know what? How are you going to do that? Because
well, he did it, and Black just retreated.
Yeah,
and White is facing this pawn storm.
Yeah,
which he can't really compensate for by going here. Onward, said Steinitz. Bishop h6, awkward move to meet, isn't it?
Yeah, pinning the knight that's on d2.
So the pawn storm commences on the other flank. But it's absolutely nothing on Wilhelm's monster pawn storm on the king side.
That is also an extra pawn. So this kingside pawn mass is, you know, it is a pawn up.
I can dispense some very worthwhile advice to
against 3
London system players. Avoid positions like this. And in particular, the one that's coming up. Because it really is like a horror show. Beautiful bishop. Just about to get... there we go. This is it. Part 2 in motion.
By the way, why didn't... oh, sorry. No. Hallucinating there. Never mind.
It looks to me as though Blackburn's sort of psyched out when he played Steinitz. You know, he just could not play against him. One of those opponents who was just too difficult for him. This is horrible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at that bishop on h2.
Blackburn. I mean, he was actually a very good endgame player, right? But the early part of his game, it was more like he was just sort of getting the pieces out and hoping for the best. Yeah, look at loads of Blackburn games. He was very weak in the early stages, but he was a really good endgame player. Apparently, he went to Manchester Chess Club and he spent ages with the club professional Gunsberg, who just taught him endgames.
No.
Right, and Blackburn was one of the best endgame players of the day. You know,
well, here there's the prospect of reaching an endgame is not high.
Yeah, so actually not with a good bishop. Have that bishop on h2 outplay Black's knight.
If it ever emerges, I'm sure it will do some serious damage, but it's got to get out first. So castles. I mean, a lot of players will play f3 and just play a piece up for the rest of the game. But
yeah, it's very tempting. That
it's extremely tempting. I mean, that's awful for poor old White, but he didn't do that. He castled, allowing G takes f4. But of course, this is also horrendous.
It shows a lot of confidence by Steinitz, I would say, that he didn't play f3 because f3 is like a slam dunk, you know, a slam dunk win. You're a piece up on every, you know, on the rest of the board.
He may have felt this would take less time.
Yeah.
Because how is White going to deal with the threats?
Well, he's not, is he?
Well, he gave his bishop a square, glory be, and Black played e3.
That's a discovered check.
So strong that the bishop had to be removed. In came the knight, and Black cheerfully plays knight e4. This really is like some sort of horror show for White, isn't it? So takes that one. The poor London system bishop has to suffer more indignity. I suppose he couldn't really face playing bishop g1.
Yeah, that's
who could say the pawns are worth less than bishop? Oh, you got to laugh, haven't you? Okay, so bishop h3, and now another crushing move. If there were prizes for the worst possible position in chess, I think White's getting
Certainly played at this level.
White's getting very close to achieving it.
Where was this game played? Was it one of their match games?
I would have to look that up. Played in 1899 in London, in the London International Tournament,
right.
round 23.
It's probably one of the worst positions in an international tournament.
Round
Ever.
23, so they might have been a bit tired by then.
Yeah, yeah.
But still.
Well, if Blackburn had been drinking the other 22 rounds, then he was probably a bit under the weather at this stage.
Well, he's still sober enough to give a check. And surprisingly, Black gets out a check. And now a glorious move, rook g1.
Yeah.
With the London system bishop still looking a bit...
still hanging in there.
The worse for wear. Unfortunately, there's no hanging in there. It's gone.
Yeah.
And it gets removed. They certainly played on a long time in those days, didn't they? Winnow played on beyond the call of duty. And this, I mean, really, this is totally resignable. But he plays on.
Might have been for the benefit of the spectators.
Risking humiliation. You never know. He might make a queen. And he does make a queen in the end, which makes it even more humiliating. This is the most random position I think I've ever seen in a high quality game.
Threatening queen f3 check.
And Steinitz he's just untroubled. He just keeps pushing pawns.
I've got a feeling he was kind of enjoying it at this stage.
This is like taking the mickey, isn't it? This is really taking a mickey.
I mean, if he was sarcastic to Blackburn after this game, it's like I've always wondered, you know that Steinitz he said something like about one of Blackburn's games against Schwartz, the Blackburn Immortal. He said it's the finest game of the century. I wonder if there was like an element of sarcasm to that, because Steinitz was always so sarcastic, right? It could be that he was being a bit sarcastic.
Well, poor old Blackburn. I mean, he should be resigning, but he gets a second queen at least. That's
credit where credit's due.
Credit where credit's due. And Steinitz doesn't even take it off.
And he resigned at this point.
A very extremely generous resignation.
Any detail on how Blackburn resigned this one? Was it grab your coat and leave the tournament hall with your walking stick, or?
I haven't got a tournament book.
No, it's a pity, because I imagine their resignations were a bit more flamboyant than what we have these days.
Possibly.
Just sort of stopping the clock. It's all sort of a bit dry.
Well, I won't resign. You finish me off. I shall go there. I'm sure it's not too difficult a challenge for you.
Rook G1, mate.
Drat and double drat. I had two queens at the end, at least.
Yeah,
well,
but
I
I think they should give people more latitude to resign as they wish. It's like sort of. I think when Korchnoi lost to Judith Polgar, he said, "This is the first and the last time I ever lose to you." I thought that was pretty good. It just sort of add a bit of drama to the games. As not just stopping the clock.
Didn't he say to one of his opponents, "Do you speak English?" And the opponent said yes. Then he said, "Well, why don't you resign?" Another famous story of Korchnoi.
Yeah, I mean, Korchnoi had a reputation, but he was very nice to me. Right, when I played him in London, he was extremely told me stories and stuff like that. And the post-mortem, very loud, still in the tournament hall, but still, he was very nice to me. Right, and but he had a very bad. He was mainly very sarcastic with Russians. Right, the young Russians. I think he got a reputation of being, not very nice with them. But with this should come back now. I think you can get, you get defaulted and fined and whatever. They should relax the rules on resignation.
Chess has become very corporate.
Yeah. We want a bit of argy-bargy.
And with that thought, it's time to wrap this show up, I think.
Yeah, and next week I think we got Danny Gormally.
Our next guest is Danny Gormally, and we've got Keith Arkle lined up as well, which is excellent news. And next week we'll have Danny Gormally on the show, bringing his own brand of chess. I think he's on good form at the moment, as far as I can see from his tournament results. So we should have some excellent games to look at.
He's an excellent player, really good player.
Yeah.
So, right, well, thanks for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time.
Cheers.